Hello. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about something that's common between younger men. It's the idea that or the emotion that you are lonely, alone, and confused, and you don't really know where you're going in life. And I had that too. And the social norm is that we need those to be a real man or to call ourselves grown ups. I think there has to be a bit of distinction. We can ask questions of where we're going and what we're doing, what we want to do, all those things. There can be a question, but it doesn't necessarily have to be frustration. The emotion that comes with it doesn't have to be frustration or doubts or sensation of not knowingness. It is completely normal to ask questions, but it's something else to feel lost, if that makes sense. It only happens because there's no one to fucking talk to. There's no one to talk to, and whatever this form of guidance you get is not meaningful at all. In a way, when you talk to someone, or let's say that you're talking to a boomer, and they give you some outdated advice or something that doesn't really resonate with you. Let's say they just you have you have a concern about your future career, and then you ask somebody, and this boomer says, "Well, fucking go to university, get a degree, get a job, and stuff like that." The usual ones that we all tend to mock on, and you can tell that by the answer they give you, you know that you don't, and the way they are living, you know that this advice is not gonna fucking work, you know, and that's the reason why you need to kind of like look at yourself first. So this idea of lost, this confusion, comes from not knowing or not recognizing and not being aware of the things that you've done in the past. When you're fully aware, or as much as possible, let's look at things that you experienced in terms of physical experience, emotional experience, and mental experience. There are spiritual experiences, but putting that aside for the convenience of this topic, there are physical experiences, and usually there's emotional experience and mental experience that's all put together. But it's not easy to so much pinpoint what exactly you emotionally experience when you're a man, because you don't really know what emotions are other than the usual emotions that you're used to. It's quite difficult to pinpoint this very specific emotions you feel and think about why you felt that. And mental experiences, like for example, you did something and you have certain question and you don't have the answer to that, but after you after some time you do something or experience something, and then suddenly the answer to the question that you had in the past suddenly gets resolved. These are some mental experiences. And when you look at your past, when you look at these ups and downs and the decisions that you made, when you basically look at the dots that you left on your path, you can see a kind of life you lived. And don't try to look at this in a linear perspective. Try to look at it with a eagle eye view. Imagine you become an eagle and you're flying through all these experiences that you had, and you're just looking at everything that's happened all at once through time. And you will be able to see some pattern. You will be able to recognize the kind of a person you are. But because there is a bit of distance to what you've done, you will be able to reflect on yourself. And because you reflect on yourself, you will be able to see where you are going, because you now recognize the kind of person you are. And this eagle eye view, it's one method, but the other one that I think that is the most effective is to talk to someone who's been there, someone who's done this, someone who's actually gone through things and has an answer to their life, some form of clarity, some form of understanding. I'm not talking about some esoteric understanding of like whatever the fuck that's going on. I'm talking about just deep, meaningful understanding of what they're doing and where they're going in life. And by talking to these kind of people and by bouncing back and forth the idea, they will be able to lead you to get the clarity that you want. And during this discussion or communication, a mental illusion that you have will be revealed, and you will be given a choice by yourself to either let it go or choose to be illusioned still. So that's an ego, but it's better than living without knowing. It's not an easy process, but it's definitely possible. And through this process of communication and looking at yourself in the past with the eagle eye view, you get to have more free will over yourself, because you recognize this fallacy. When you know you're in a dream, you gotta wake up. When you know you have an illusion, you can let go. And by doing these things, you will have less confusion and feel less lonely, because you will be filled with the aspects that you want to have by the repetition of this process. The more illusion you let go of, the more firm you become. And I wish this becomes more of a common knowledge, that it's not about the growth. The growth is not about being lost and confused. The growth is about asking a right question and get clarity from delving into these questions. And that's the right attitude. That's the right behavior of growing up. It's not the only way, but definitely I find it way healthier than being stuck in a loop and mentally jerking about how miserable a certain life is. So look at yourself in the past, the decisions you made, the emotions you felt, and the kind of experiences that you choose to have. There will be a certain form of clarity, and you will be able to reflect on yourself. And I wish that, not wish, but I think this kind of interaction between people will make not easier, but more meaningful life. That's it for today. Have a great day.